DLT-specific venture capital and private equity firms have raised over $100 billion. And by their mandates, they have anywhere from 3 to 5 years to deploy this capital into the space, and then another 3 to 5 years to harvest it.
Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, and as many of you know, I do some work for the HBAR Foundation, but the opinions expressed in this interview are just those of my guest and I, not the foundation. My guest today is David Lane of Pary Fund, who's looking to invest in the Hedera ecosystem. Welcome, David.
Welcome, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. It's my pleasure. To start off, can you just tell us what the Pary Fund is?
Certainly. The Pary Fund is myself and 2 other partners. We're actually all neighbors. We all work in traditional finance. When COVID hit, we realized that we were saving about 3.5 to 4 hours a day, not having to commute into New York City. The fund's located in Connecticut. So we decided to pool parts of our personal accounts to invest as a collective to kind of capitalize on our strengths. I work for a venture capital fund of funds. One gentleman works for as a developer at Bloomberg, and then the third partner trades natural gas proprietarily. Okay. So we each have our own strengths. We combined our funds in 2020. Our portfolio is split evenly between traditional finance and DLT. Within DLT, we've invested primarily in fund managers. We like to leave it up to the experts. However, we set aside about $100,000 for direct investment within projects. Back in November, maybe October, November, we started experimenting with the different blockchains. And oddly enough, the one blockchain we fell in love with was the one that's not a blockchain, was Hedera. So we began deploying, we made a large underlying purchase in HBAR. Price was a lot better back then, but we've managed to hedge our risk on that. Because we all come from a traditional finance background, when we make an investment in something, we also try to add value to it. We treat everything with a 2 to 5 year investment horizon. I know everyone likes a 2x overnight, but realistically, that doesn't happen. So what my group is looking to do specifically within the crypto sector is invest in projects within the Hedera ecosystem, preferably at an early price. And then we like to offer our help to the projects to see how we can add value, whether it be from a development standpoint or business development or capital fundraising, however we can best help a project, because ultimately every project in Hedera that succeeds supports our underlying investment thesis.
Well, we certainly can use your expertise, and we appreciate you coming into the space. So what initially made you interested in getting involved with the Hedera ecosystem?
I'm going to have to tip my cap off to Hashpack. It was the simplicity of just downloading it and then being able to do secure trades, the user interface, the fact that the wallet address isn't like 37 alphanumerics, it's just a couple numbers. There's a lot of things. And coming from a traditional finance background, I don't know if true decentralization is possible. I think there's a happy medium to be found somewhere. And I know people can complain that Hedera has like a governing council, but we look at that as a positive. It shows us that there's solid institutional backing. And then on top of that, the HBAR Foundation is actively deploying capital into the ecosystem to help it grow. So that's something we love to see. And I've spoken with Grace Fluger at the HBAR Foundation. I really love what she had to say. And it's conversations like that, it's interviews like this that show me how excited people are within the ecosystem to help it grow. So for us, we've seen it grow organically. I'm starting to see people talk about it more and more. And we just want to be able to help support it and continue that growth. We love the path that it's on. We love the Hedera improvement plans that are happening. The technology is constantly improving. They're open to listening to the community. I can go on and on. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No,
it's just
perfect.
A multitude of, it's just an incredibly, to get people involved in the space, you need to make it somewhat user-friendly. And I think the Hedera ecosystem, I think every project is trying to make it as user-friendly as possible to welcome people, to get people to adopt it. And even with the NFT projects, I've noticed some of these Discords have close to 1,000 members, but the founders are willing to work individually with people if they have questions. So, it's stuff like that we love to see.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think the way you're going about it, you invest in the HBAR and now you're looking at, the rest of the space and seeing where you can help and different ways you can help. I think it can become a self-reinforcing cycle. If the infrastructure like Hashpack gets built up and does well, that's good for the HBAR. Of course, if the HBAR does well, that's a natural advertisement for the infrastructure and of course the network. And you said that, the base layer of the network is one of certainly the best in the space. We think it's absolutely the best in the space.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's another whole part of it, right? We have our influencers as well. We have King Solomon, we have Credible Crypto, we have CoinMan, we have Bobby Stearman from Did Coding, who's helping our developers out. And the better they do, the better the infrastructure and the network does, and the better the infrastructure, the HBAR and the network does, the better our influencers do. So I think in the years to come, that self-reinforcing loop is going to get even stronger.
Without a doubt. One thing I wanted to point out, I saw someone complaining the other day that every time they log into Hashpack, they see updates. And they're like, is there a way to not see the updates? And I was kind of looking at it more as a glass half full. Like
Sure.
Every day I'm logging into an application that is constantly improving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, I mean, I've seen Hashpack grow. I mean, there's a million other projects outside of Hashpack. I'm just using this as an example.
Sure.
Every day I see, oh, here's what we updated. Here's the bugs we fixed. Like they're constantly improving. And I mean, I think that's what you want to see in projects. You don't want to see anything become stale because then it's just going to lose interest and competition's going to pass it. To see a product, constantly improving every day, that's something we love to see. And we see it with a lot of projects within the Hedera ecosystem. And as far as our support goes of individual projects, we encourage everyone to do that. Get involved with what you invest in. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your money, and for the price of HBAR to grow, it needs to get adopted. So we need these applications to be advertised, to get out in the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was good to hear that you're actually putting up your own capital. You're putting your money where your mouth is. So that's certainly appreciated as well.
Yeah, we don't accept outside capital. Working for a venture capital fund of funds, I know what goes into fundraising, so I sympathize with all these projects out there. But it's just a lot more manageable for us to manage our own funds. And it lets us take, certain risks that, ordinarily we wouldn't feel comfortable with managing other people's money. I mean, DLT is still a very volatile sector. It's up there with biotech. So,
Sure.
Some people don't feel comfortable with it. We do. I've been in the crypto space since 2015. So, I've been through this. I guess this is technically our second crypto winter, but it's I've seen the growth, and I think it's going to continue to grow.
Well, considering we are kind of entering this bear market and you're doing this with your own capital, what are your thoughts on the macro environment and the outlook for the crypto space over the next 12 to 18 months?
So the way we look at it is COVID hit 2020. We started printing money, May of 2020. It took about 12 to 18 months for inflation to set in. Just thinking on the flip side, probably going to take about 12 to 18 months for inflation to come back down. I'm of the process. The best trade right now might be just sit on cash. Every month, the Fed keeps raising interest rates. You raise interest rates, less dollars in the system, dollar purchasing power goes up, your dollar becomes stronger, ultimately prices come down. Unfortunately, that applies to every sector, including crypto, at least in our view. So for right now, we're just patiently deploying capital. We're in a good spot to be able to do our diligence. This last couple months have kind of flushed out some of the weaker projects. If you notice, though, it hasn't really flushed anything out of the Hedera ecosystem. We still see people building, at least all the projects we've been following. So right now, we're just sitting on cash, deploying. Every time the Fed raises rates, or the dollar becomes stronger. We sit in U.S. dollar. We have some euro, but like really a small amount. One of the funds we're invested in gives dividends in euro. But the dollar's getting stronger, so prices are going to come down. So we're just waiting for the right time to deploy. That's kind of the trade we're doing right now. But as far as the macro environment goes, I would say 12 to 18 months before you really see a significant reduction in prices, provided the Fed continues on their hawkish path right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to stay that way for a little while. But, oil prices are getting a little bit better. So that's a little bit of a silver lining right now, but that can change pretty quickly as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And mentioning the euro, I know it's big news that we just hit parity for the first time in a really long time.
Yeah, so I studied abroad in Belgium in 2002, right when the euro was introduced. And it was 90 cents to buy €1. And then obviously the euro surpassed the dollar, it was a lot stronger. And then, yeah, it was kind of the first time I've seen it come back to those levels. It's a historic environment that we're in right now.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess the next thing I wanted to touch on is, people that want to tap your expertise or maybe try to entice some of your capital. How can they get involved? I know on the 21st of July, we're going to have a VC capital event where people are going to be able to pitch for that. I'm not sure if you're going to be involved with that or not, but how would you suggest getting in touch?
If anyone would like to get in touch with me, you can reach me on Twitter. It's Pary Fund _PM. Or you can reach me on Telegram or Discord. Discord, I'm still getting used to all these apps. We had spoken earlier, I'm 41, and I feel like the younger generation is light years ahead of me. Discord, it's Pary Fund 6162, and then on Telegram, it's DL1330.
And to anybody out there, if you just get in touch with me as well, I can get you in touch with David as well. So the next question I have is, where do you see the most growth in crypto being generated, and how are you looking to take advantage?
So we see, the way I like to look at it is we see we need banking, but you don't need banks. So we see crypto being used a lot in payments, security. We've always seen a big need for it with logistics, being able to track things from point of purchase to point of sale, from production all the way to point of sale. I would say the most growth, though, we're going to see, I think it's going to be in the NFT space.
Okay.
I think as much as I want to see banking, because I come from a traditional finance background, and that's, my bread and butter, it's going to be the one thing I don't understand that's going to, I think is going to be the biggest growth. And I think it's going to be NFTs. Specifically e-gaming. I look at what my daughter does, and my daughter's 12. She's constantly gaming. And I see a huge thing with NFTs, with skins. I see, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. Games where you have the option to earn, I see those succeeding, but not these play to earn games like Axie. Like I tried playing Axie Infinity, and personally, I didn't find it all that fun. But I think the person who can create a fun game and then somehow incorporate crypto within that, I think that's going to be a gold mine. If you look at the esports space specifically, so I'm in Connecticut, Philadelphia is about 2 hours away. They just built I want to say like $100 million esports arena near the Lincoln Center there. That just shows you the growth. Every kid I know, some kids can excel in athletics, but every kid can excel in gaming, or at least it's like kind of an equal playing field. So I just see that sector blowing up, and I see NFTs somehow getting involved in that. How it's going to work, I don't know, but it's just an area that we're watching as well.
Yeah, no, I certainly see why you're interested in the Hedera space. I mean, with payments, we have Drop and Banksa, with you were talking about supply chain tracking and things like that. And we have Atma.io coming out, and we have several other use cases in that space. But we're really seeing the most in that metaverse NFT space, whether it's the infrastructure that's being built around it, like Hashpack and Hash Access and Turtle Moon, or whether it's all the gaming stuff that's going on. We have Lithos, we have Vavel, we have Dropper, we have.
Dropper's a really cool. I had the opportunity to speak with Eric Faust the other day. Really impressed with what they're building. Like a launch pad specifically for gaming. Like I just thought that was a great concept. I think all these concepts are really cool. There's a lot of underserved areas that I didn't realize existed. And the one thing we really like about the Hedera ecosystem is it's been growing organically. It didn't just like blow up one night and all of a sudden you had 2,000 projects. Back in November, it was so much easier for me to follow this ecosystem. Now keeping up with all the growth is a lot harder. I need a couple assistants to do it. But everything's been growing organically. So as a result, we've been getting really strong projects that have been starting out within the research and development space. You have Hedera Starter and Head Starter, two launch pads that both have very solid backgrounds. Connor Devlin and Tudor Holotescu over at Head Starter, they have a really good background. Galaxy, I really like what they're doing. Dropper is one I mentioned. H Suite, the whole smart contract list idea. And then you have Saucer Swap. Sorry, I could go on. The projects, they're just, but what they're building, they're doing it organically. They're not like rushing a product out there. They're taking their time. They're building, like HashGuild's another example. They're a marketplace that is very methodically releasing what they're doing, like listening to the community. Like you don't see that in a lot of the other ecosystems, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, we've got a sharp crew. That's for sure. And my gosh, you've done your homework. You know this space in and out.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fun, and I like the fact that it doesn't take. So I did it. Not going to badmouth Solana because I know I'm just going to get destroyed on Twitter. But
Well,
I tried depositing Solana on KuCoin the other day, and some people blame KuCoin, but the chain shut down, and then KuCoin took like 2 days for it to come in.
yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, I've never had this issue with Hedera ever. Maybe
Yeah.
it's taken 5 seconds for a transaction to go through, but usually it takes 2 or 3. Like it's just I've never had that issue, and the technology makes it easy. It makes it so easy for you to want to use it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh yeah,
just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things the ecosystem has attracted a lot of really sharp people and analytical people. And I think that opens us up to a lot of the FUD that we see because they're so critical and they may not be paying attention to what's going on in some of these other platforms. You know, you mentioned Solana. They aren't comparing it to what else is in the space. They're just saying this one little thing needs improvement, so they'll go after it. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We have a lot of really smart people, but they're critical as well. So yeah. All right. So the last thing I wanted just to say, give you an opportunity. Do you have anything else you'd like to pass on to the community?
So there's 2 things. But when you and I had spoken, so there's a side project that we're working on. One thing we noticed in a lot of the discords is liquidity seems to be an issue amongst the community. Completely sympathize. Liquidity has been a whole issue my whole life. And then I thought I broke free of it, and then I had kids, and liquidity is back to being an issue because of them. But we noticed a lot of people wanted to participate in mints, but they couldn't because they had already invested in one. So we started a project called Hashgraph Fund. We're doing a small fundraise. There's a Discord. I'm happy to send you the link. And essentially what we're trying to do is pull together funds. It's community driven. Anyone who owns the token has a voice. You can nominate projects to invest in. And our idea is to invest in IDOs or mints of anything Hedera based, hold it in a treasury long term, and hopefully see some growth. This way it can provide token holders with fractional ownership. Also coming from a traditional finance background, I also understand people's liquidity needs. So the fund also keeps Hedera HBAR on the side. So, you can redeem your tokens at any time if you want to, depending on the value of the treasury. But hopefully, the community as a whole, we pick good projects that, are strong fundamentally and that will grow. So the idea is down the road when you redeem your token, it's worth more than when you purchased it.
Sure.
And then lastly, obviously I see a little hopium for you. A lot of people are very down on the market. I know prices are down, but what we like people to realize within the DLT space is that over the last 2 years, DLT specific venture capital and private equity firms have raised over $100 billion. And by their mandates, they have anywhere from 3 to 5 years to deploy this capital into the space, and then another 3 to 5 years to harvest it. So that means within the next 3 to 5 years, $100 billion has to get deployed to distributed ledger technology. Because this is so big and the space is so small, there's going to be a lot of competition, and they're going to go for strong fundamental projects. We feel a bulk of these are going to be in the Hedera ecosystem. So that's where we put our money. I know Twitter has the, remind me of this in 1 year tweet. So hopefully this doesn't backfire on me, but, if it does, hey, I'm still going in with all my conviction. We really like the space. We love the community. We love how receptive people are, and we look forward to saying hello future, whatever the expression is. So.
That's it. So no, I mean, that's exactly what we want to hear. It's music to the ears of a lot of people in our ecosystem. And a lot of people don't have that kind of insight. They don't realize that kind of capital is going to need to be deployed. And I think you're absolutely right. I think Hedera is going to shine in the next 3 to 5 years. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, David, it goes back to that happy, it just goes back to that happy medium thing. I know people want like a 2x return overnight, but good things take time. And, if you look at it objectively, crypto still moves faster than, the traditional finance space. So as long as people are patient, give it time, support your projects that you invest in, and, get involved. It's fun. We really enjoy working with the projects that we've invested in. And we're happy to help wherever we can. And if we can't help you, we'll do our best to put you in touch with someone who can. The success of every project ultimately supports our underlying investment thesis.
Yeah, good stuff. David, this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I hope we can get you back in about a year or so, and we can see how your investments have done and what your thesis is doing.
Yeah, hopefully my background's a lot better than Blind's and in my office at home. But Brandon, thanks again for having me. And I really appreciate what you do for the community. It's broadcasts like these that help educate everyone, and I don't think people really appreciate, it's time out of your day that you do this, but we really like what you're doing over here at Pary Fund. So thank you very much.
It's a labor of love. Thanks again, David.
No worries, Brandon. Have a wonderful day.